to give y'all the real of I'm ready to build the community. I've been ready. I've been trying. To me, it's about being a valuable service. As this administration changed, so did the entire landscape of federal government. Being able to put forth an offer, making sure that as I'm listening to what you're saying, what you're looking for, what you need, I'm putting forth things that are actually useful. Welcome back, Bold Move Besties, to another episode of She Built Success. I'm your host, Claudia. Let's get on into it. All right, so I actually want to start this episode with a reflection. And this, at the time of this recording, we're close to the end of 2025. And I want to talk about how 2025 started, because it is not how it's ending for me. So typically when I go to plan for a year, I try to do it around Q4 of the previous year. So Q4 2024, we had planned out our lines of business. So my company, we have a couple lines of business. One is within government contracting, where we do data analytics, project management, things of that sort. And then the other side of the house is in small business, where we do government contract coaching, systems, automations, and workflows, things like that with small businesses and entrepreneurs. And so Q4 2024, planning for 2025 calendar year. And sometimes you hear me say calendar year, fiscal year, and I'm only specifying calendar year because sometimes I do say fiscal year. But as a business, calendar year 2025 plans had everything going. We had the target agencies on the government side, on the federal side specifically, that we were looking for. We had built relationships within those agencies. We had lined up some opportunities under simplified acquisitions to be able to start not only the process of going through the solicitation, but potentially winning it. No, it was not like a yes, for sure we're winning it, but they were definitely on our radar and things that we were tracking in our pipeline for government contracting. And I'm going to split the lines of business because this is you'll see in a minute. So I'm splitting lines of business. Follow me right now with the GovCon line. So we had the Fed agencies, we had the offices within those agencies, we had the relationships built out. I mean, this is something myself, my acquisition strategist, have been cultivating like literally all of 2024. That was it. Was relationship building, and we had our CRM set. It was the whole software suite behind us that I built in Airtable, leveraging like relationships and obviously the CRM component of it and interactions, and then team doing different things on social. So like it was a whole thing. And so started out 2025 excited, ready to go after these simplified acquisitions. It's typically quiet in our Q4 of the prior calendar year is Q1 for fiscal year for the federal government. So it's typically quiet in that time frame. So October through December is usually the best time for me to plan anyway, because it's not so hectic. Started 2025, the relationships were great. We were looking forward to, like I said, some pipeline under simplified acquisitions as a company. And then things started to change and shift. A new administration came in. At that time, we were recording season 3 of the podcast. And at that time, we were also recording season 3 in batch. Like we were recording 12 episodes at a time over a month span to equal 2 sets, which is 24. So we batch recorded just about all the episodes just as the administration was changing. So for those of you who might be new here, season 3 was all about government contracting and how to get started, how to get into it, literally step by step of what it looks like as a small business getting into government contracting. So that was what we recorded. And as this administration changed, so did the entire landscape of federal government. I'm saying that to say there was a lot of changes in how things were procured. There's changes in, even in the simplified acquisition, there's simplified acquisitions, and then there's what's known as purchase cards. And purchase cards was another modality, and I'll come back to that in a minute for small biz, so hang tight. But it was another modality that we were also looking to leverage as a company for 2025. Like excited, super excited, ready to go. Everybody, our team was on board. We had, like I said, those relationships built out, and so we were already connected and making good strides to be on track to get these contracts. Administration changed and shit hit the fan. So here's what happened. We ended up having to completely, it was almost like, how do I explain it? So I remember the key thing was we had those relationships. We had the agency. We were good. And then everything changed. People started leaving, whether it was voluntary or involuntary. A lot of people started, I'll say, not shutting down, but not being responsive. Some of that was due to just the administration changing, but it was very difficult to get a hold of the folks and individuals and offices, frankly, that we spent all of 2024 developing those relationships and rapport with. And so just like that, at one moment I was like, okay, well, we had 3 different agencies. So I'm like, it's not like we were looking at only one and then it completely dried up. So we had pockets to go to be able to say, okay, how is this opportunity shaping up? And then it was like everything just went so I unplugged the cord and nothing was moving, or things were getting canceled and everything was getting reevaluated. And then there was a freeze, and then purchase cards, they just stopped. They said, nope, nobody's using a purchase card. And I was like, okay, what are we going to do? And so I started 2025 really excited and ready to go. And my thoughts were, on the government contracting space, we were good. We had things lined up. It was solid. To the point where now here come an insert small business line, our line of business in small, and it was the coaching offer. So had a whole curriculum, still do, called Ready Swipe Gov, which is intended to teach small businesses how to get started in government contracting, and launched it to only find out that almost everything changed. And I was like, well, what do we do? So not only was my GovCon side impacted, but then the small biz offer, which was in the group coaching capacity for Ready Swipe Gov, also I was like, well, I can pivot. I can, pick up the new regulations and things that are happening to be able to explain and translate, what that would look like as a small business. But here's the catch. The shit was translating month by month, week by week. To be able to keep up is literally a full-time job. And if not more, and a full-time job of many. And at this point, I was like, okay, I'm looking at the writing on the wall. I'm like, maybe I should just hang tight on Ready Swipe Gov and see how I can understand what's happening in the landscape of government contracting to be able to make it more up-to-date and more relevant for small businesses. It got to a point, y'all, by the time, what are we in? So by the time June came, so mid-year came around, I was like, I cannot keep pace with all of this. June, we went through the summer, going into the fall. And then there's things like this, the FAR regulations that's being rewritten, and things are being lined out, crossed out. Things that used to be part of the FAR language is no longer. And it was so much shift, not only for small businesses, but even for other socioeconomic businesses, even large primes. I mean, there was challenges with contracts on the large prime side where it was like, well, when Doge came through and is checking to say, hey, is this, a legit contract? I use legit in air quotes, but is this a legit contract? Yes, no. Are we going to pull it? Are we going to, so it was a lot going on. And it got to the point where I said, okay, I'm going to pause on even trying to continue to talk about Ready Swipe Gov until things settle down. And I was not, I'm going to say this. I don't think anybody thought 2025 was going to go the way it has. And I'm saying that because, you start the year with a plan. I use 12, y'all know my methodology within 12 weeks. Well, it's not my methodology, but I use 12-week year and I use Airtable to do it. I literally stopped. The pace of which things were evolving, changing, shifting, I had to stop. I could no longer, the things that I had on my 12-week year almost became null and void. And I'm like, well, okay, what do I need to do? How should I be rethinking this? And we decided to take Q4 off of 2025 for GovCon, just to say, let's just regroup myself, my acquisition strategist. So let's just take the time off and we will come back to this. Now, that doesn't mean I'm gone forever, but frankly, I was tired. I was running a newsletter that had, opportunities and tried to keep you in the know of what was going on in GovCon and tried to help you get started in GovCon, gave you the opportunity to kind of interact with me all behind the scenes in this newsletter. I stopped it. I said, no, I'm not going to continue to put energy into something that continues to literally shift day by day. And so making the decision to pause the small business side, which was government coaching, it felt a way. I felt a way about it because I really truly wanted to help. Like I really truly wanted to get the information to individuals who were interested in getting started in government contracting. But I did not want to do a disservice and give you outdated information because I mean, what's the point of that? And so having to stop it, I was mad because I had literally, well, not just accepted, but really early on in accepting the whole coaching situation, because that's a whole thing. And if y'all want to get caught up in that, I'll probably link an episode where I talk about that. But this was a progressive thing. So getting to the point where I'm like, yes, coaching is it. And then it felt like it was like, well, coaching's not it. Well, not I'm saying it's not it, but like it felt like I can no longer do it, at least in the lens of the capacity of what I was going to do, which is the group coaching Ready Swipe Gov program. So all of 2025 has been just a complete reframe, I guess, of what what I thought. 12-week year, I had to revamp because, again, it was not a thing. The contracts that I do have, thankfully, are considered essential. So those are still funded, or not funded, but are still progressing. So that's a good thing. But there were a lot of small businesses who did not. Their contracts were terminated, sometimes without a real reason. It was just, we no longer need this. And it's very tumultuous is the word that I'm looking for. And so going into this next year, I'm really looking at what does it need to look like? What do I want it to look like? And it's still, I mean, I still want to do coaching. It's just in what capacity? Like, how is that going to look? I don't know. I'm here to give y'all the real of I'm ready to build the community. I've been ready. I've been trying. I feel like at this point, building the community is how it's going to inform what that next step is. To me, it's about being of service and a valuable service. So something that you're not just sitting there staring at a screen, watching an on-demand training. Like I don't, for me, that's the best way I can explain it is I believe that each entrepreneur, each small business brings something to the table, whether it's a service, a product, and then the knowledge within that container. And to me, being able to help draw out not only your knowledge, but the service or product that you're trying to put forth and what that looks like. Like I sometimes leaned in on GovCon because that is my background as far as just almost 2 decades of experience in the space as a consultant. But really and truly, I understand that for me, systems, workflows, processes, automations, like that's my jam as well. But then I also see like the elements of what could be in a business that sometimes you may not see. And so I'm trying to navigate, where I'm going to fit in here for 2026. And fit in is probably a very generic term, but where, what makes sense. And so as this podcast continues to come out, I want to continue to just evolve that. So give me grace as you may see things shift or change, whether it's here on the podcast, the platform, and how things come across, or just some of the things that I'm working on behind the scenes. But I will try my best to continue to bring you along with me as, things continue to evolve via this podcast and then, my other social platforms. But right now for 2025, we're at the end here, and I'm really looking at what is 26 going to look like, whether that's in the GovCon space, potentially pursuing more state versus federal, and so federal will kind of even out. And then for small businesses, it's, to me, building this community and letting it take form, letting you all inform me, what do you want to know? I'm pretty flexible in terms of what I grow into, but I do know coaching is in that ecosystem. So I don't know. We'll see where 26 aligns or allows me to step into what's next. I think at this point, the only reservation that I have in terms of being able to put forth an offer, because right now you're not going to hear me say, I'm offering XYZ, is really listening and making sure that as I'm listening to what you're saying, what you're looking for, what you need, I'm putting forth things that are actually useful. So Ready Swipe Gov is still here. It's just in it's in hibernation for the moment until things settle down, and the program will more than likely relaunch once things have settled. And the team and I have had a chance to look at the different nuances and what that means for small business, to understand what the best strategy is to be able to get started into government contracting. But I do know for sure government contracting will not be the only offer or opportunity in the coaching realm. So that I can say for sure. I do know that for sure. I have a pretty deep background in digital marketing across platforms as well. And then also obviously on the IT and tech stack side, that's my jam too. So Bowman Besties, I have a question for you. How has your 2025, or at the time of you listening to this, shaped up? Because it's been a doozy. All right, until the next time, I'll catch you on the next episode of She Built Success. Bye.